Okay, thanks for that insight. Now, if anyone, and say it could be me, contacted you now via your website or gave you a phone call, how does the actual coaching process work? So if I came in, what would happen? How would we start?
We'd make a connection via, like you say, via email or via the phone. And then what we would decide based on, and it's really important to have this initial call so that I can, it only takes 10 minutes, is I get to know you a little tiny bit, you would get to know me a little tiny bit, and then we would decide there, based on a couple of questions that I asked you and you may ask me, we would decide if it was a good match. Sometimes it's not a good match, and that's okay because you can't be everything to everybody. So first of all, we would need to decide if we wanted to work together. Once we decided that, very easy, we make a time in our diaries that are good for both of us, and we would connect and we would work together. Generally, I start to work with people on a 6 to 8 week session plan, and what we would do is work with that, and then I would come up with some guidelines, some time frames, some homework for you to do or home play for you to do. I'd support you, I'd challenge you, I'd question you, and most importantly, like I said before, I'd keep you accountable to your goals and whatever other objectives that you wanted to do. So we would work on come up with, okay, let's work for 6 to 8 weeks together, and we would choose a time, and then we would look at what you really, really, really wanted to work on. Like, what would 3 areas of your life be if you could, what 3 areas of your life would you like to change that will enable you to have a better life than what you have now? They're pretty big questions. So I'd ask you some initial questions and you'd work through those, and then we'd decide where you wanted to go from there.
Okay, so do you use any sort of testing batteries or any sort of standard sort of, pro formas or anything like that to sort of get some of this information out of people initially, or is it just based on what you see when you get it?
There's 6 special questions at the beginning that really help people think, and it gets it out of them. It starts their mind, it starts their brain thinking a little bit deeper, I suppose, than what they would have thought before. So that is really helpful. There's another form that I have, and it's kind of like about 200 questions that not everybody gets it. It just depends where the client's at the time. And it's what I call my tick and flick, and it really gives you some clarity on what it is you want out of life. And generally people find that once they work through that, then they really want to start changing things. And, I'm happy to put that up on my website as a free downloadable. I haven't actually got it up there as a freebie, but very happy to give that away. And it's absolutely fantastic for just getting a little bit of clarity about where you are in your life right now and what it is that you don't have. So if you don't have it right now, how can we go about getting it for you?
Okay, yeah, that'd be great. Let's see. So you said yourself that you've had a coach for 6 years. I think that's what you said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you normally work on a 6 to 8 week initial period. But I guess the question is, because with training programs, it's pretty clearly defined. We always know where the start is and where the end is. Mm-hmm. Do you have a sort of set period of time for coaching, or is it a lifetime, or is it sort of typically just that 8 weeks and then we go to another set of plans, or how does it sort of work?
Yeah, it's different for everybody because we're all such individual, fabulous beings that, no formula fits one. Generalization, 6 to 8 weeks, that can be extended, and sometimes it is, to 12 weeks. But what's really good about coaching is that, if the client feels like more, then it's quite easy. We can tack on another package, or we can simply tack on more sessions, session by session. What often happens is that, I'll work with you, for that 6 to 8 weeks. And in the beginning, we'll start out weekly. And then what we'll do is I'll tend to kind of make it go to fortnightly. And then sometimes people have come in for a monthly check-in, so we'll do month by month. Sometimes I've worked with people for 18 months on a weekly basis because, there was some really pressing, big, holding back issues and big health issues in there as well. And, we worked together, and that was a, fabulous relationship. In the end of 18 months, his life was in such a completely different place because of all the fabulous work that he'd done on himself. And he was really focused and really determined. So it is different. It is very, very different for everybody. But, it's almost like my coaching is on tap. The more you want it, the more you can have it, So, and as a coach, what I want my clients to fly. I want them to fly by themselves. I don't want them to be working with me forever. Or, for a really extended time. That's not the place I come from. I come from the place of, wanting to work with someone to enable them to have a better life, whatever it is, and then, see you later fly. It's like a mum pushing their babies out of the nest, the eagles. And I'm sure we've all seen that fabulous video where the eagle goes, she just has to do it. And it's a scary thing for her to do, but, she wants them to fly, and that's where you want your clients to be.
Okay, so you've covered, I guess you've covered most of sort of the options there, weekly, fortnightly, monthly. Is there any time or anyone where you've sort of done a fairly intensive, like we would with intensive training, where it's almost on a daily basis? Or does it not go to that sort of thing?
No, it doesn't really go to, let me think about that. It doesn't really go to that intense. But having said that, I have worked with clients. So I'm kind of, you could contact me. I would say I started working with you and we go through the processes. If there was ever a time that you wanted to kind of connect because you were kind of like feeling a bit stressed out, a bit out of control, but whatever it was, and you wanted to have a chat, I'm the kind of coach or the type of person that would go, okay, let's have a 15-minute session, and it would be a laser session, and, you'd be able to move on from there. So, there are times when I'm very happy to connect by phone for a short amount of time. And also, you can send me an email anytime you want, and we can do some coaching via email. And that's also very powerful, interestingly enough. It is very powerful. So, yeah, daily, no. Twice a week, no. I'd still stick to the weekly stuff.
Okay. Now, I guess the crunch question for a lot of the trainers out there is the differences and the similarities between training and coaching. So just in your sort of personal view, can you outline what you think are some of the similarities and differences between training and coaching?
Yeah. So are training and coaching similar? No, I personally think that they're very different. So as a trainer, then, I come from a place of like you've got a program to deliver and it's got outcomes and it's got messages. So therefore, that's it. I get on and I do my job and I deliver that to get the outcomes and the messages across to the participants. And I think that's really important. Having said that, I'll also actually ask a whole lot of questions. And, I suppose the place that I come from now as a coach is I ask different questions to what I would have before I was a coach. So they're slightly deeper, and I'll challenge the participants a little more than what I used to do, only based on my ability to question deeper now. And it works quite well because the learnings don't only happen for that particular participant, they'll also happen for the whole class. I mean, as we all know, when, a participant in the class shares, then, someone else in the class was always going to ask that question and too scared to or whatever it was. But, it's a whole class thing. So I think they are very different, but I feel really privileged to have become a coach, to learn the skills that I've learned, and really along the listening and really along the questioning lines. And I believe it's enabled me to become a better trainer.
Okay, brilliant.